As an over 15-year-old franchise, BRS was bound to lose a lot of content to time and poor archiving. A lot of general BRS information has become difficult to access for the casual fan, requiring people to dive deep through Japanese blogs or trace back websites through the Wayback Machine and social media posts just to have a taste of what once was. Sadly, a lot of the searching that fans of BRS could do would all be in vain, as many of the secondary projects in the franchise have become lost media. Today I want to talk about those projects, shedding a bit of light on each piece of lost BRS media to inform those who are unaware and give fellow BRS fans who remember these works fondly a notice that they are not alone in their nostalgia. I'll be using the term lost media a bit loosely here today, as I'm also going to be talking about some cancelled and unreleased projects as part of this video since I think they're worth mentioning as well. Without further ado, let's trace back what we can about the lost media of Abridgedrockshooter. BRS Arcana is probably the most well-known piece of BRS lost media amongst BRS fans. Launched on November 21st, 2012, BRS Arcana was a mobile browser gacha game created by Good Smile Company, Strategy and Partners, and Tetsujin Inc. The game itself focused around collecting tarot cards to use in battles, whereas the story centered around a collection of people that used a digital network called Rails and an accurate fortune-telling application on the network called Arcana. Rails itself seemed to be linked to an epidemic of users falling unconscious after using the service, with the phenomenon being called flatline syndrome, and the answers as to why seem to be hidden within the Arcana application. When the player is called out to from within the Arcana app by BRS, a deeper plot begins to unravel. A story of war within the world of Arcana, hidden behind the app, as well as possibly the reason for the flatline syndrome, are all waiting to be uncovered in the game. Aside from what can be gleaned from character information, little else is known about the story in-game. Speaking of characters, BRS Arcana also introduced a cast of new characters alongside reimaginings of those seen in the 2012 TV anime, those being BRS, Deadmaster, Black Goldsaw, Strength, and Chariot, with the new characters being named Eldercaster, Farside Bunny, Loveness, and Tightmare Ellie. Each character was based off of a different Arcana tarot, thus tying into the theme of the application. Both the new designs for old characters and the new character designs were done by Taiki, who had previously done character and setting concept art for BRS the game. Unfortunately, BRS Arcana lasted just over 6 months, with service concluding on June 28, 2013. A desktop version was announced alongside the end of service announcement, but such never came to be. Nowadays, many BRS fans, especially newer and casual fans, have little idea if any of Arcana's existence, and it doesn't really help that the abandoned BRS English portal site has a typo that makes it look like the game never even existed. Worse is that even older or longtime BRS fans are in the dark as well. As of today, there are no video recordings of the gameplay and very few known screenshots. For those who did not play Arcana in its short run, it is unlikely they will ever experience a fraction of what the game offered. Luckily, some level of preservation has been made for elements of the game. An early press release PDF for the game is still accessible to this day, featuring information on the gameplay and basic story itself, and a broken archiving of BRS Arcana's website is available across many dates through the Internet Archive's Wayback Machine. The Japanese BRS Wikipedia page also has a handful of information on the game's characters. Post-release of the game, we can thank My Figure Collection user Ono Raptors for screenshots from early gameplay, giving us a look into what the game actually looked like when played, including the gacha mechanic and the appearance of some enemies. But the best archiving work comes from Twitter user The Fuzzy, who ripped all of the cards from the game before it was shut down and shared them all through an online link. Because of these bits and pieces, we have a glimpse into what BRS Arcana looked like and how it functioned, but still so much of it is unknown. The story of the game and the look of the actual gameplay, including the 2 events that took place during the game's run, and everything else from the game itself are lost. While I'd like to be hopeful that someone has a video of the game stored from over a decade ago, it's extremely unlikely, and it's safe to say that BRS Arcana will remain lost media. If any video of the gameplay itself is ever found, it would be safe to say that it would be the crown jewel of all finds for BRS archivists. In a similar vein to BRS Arcana, Puchitto is a defunct browser game made by Image Epic with art done by Chanco, released as part of the BRS franchise. Or rather, Puchitto is a pair of games, as the browser game had a mobile game sequel titled Puchitto Pursue the Mystery of the Sexy Planet. Sadly, both games being mentioned means they are both pieces of BRS lost media. Starting with the original game, Puchitto was a browser game hosted on the Nico Nico app. The gameplay was fairly simple, in which the player would click through screens via an arrow, primarily collecting items and facing enemies in battle. The story of the game takes place on a planet ruled by the Great Petite Alien, voiced by Asami Imai, who voiced Makise Kurisu in Steins Gate, and legend says that those who meet the Great Petite Alien will control the universe or be granted any wish. You play as a bounty hunter who is in search of the Great Petite Alien and collect petite aliens along the way to gain more power. For the character avatars, they all started as BRS, but through gacha mechanics and quests, clothing and weapons could be gained to customize the avatar's appearance. The game also collaborated with other popular series, such as Fate and Steins Gate. Many videos of the gameplay exist, thankfully, but much of the details of specific events and elements of the game have been lost, along with the game itself. An incomplete changelog of the game is available, but it is missing many elements and updates to the game, including some bosses such as Dragon Queen, who is a character from an illustration of Hukei's called Dragon Slayer. There are also small blogs scattered around the internet that catalog Puchitto content, but there's very little in them that isn't found in the changelog. However, just like with BRS Arcana, a collection of assets from the gacha in Petites have thankfully been archived both through the Wayback Machine and Internet Archive, and Twitter user Prismatic Pencil, who collected the gacha assets from these archives to share via Google Drive. As for the sequel to Petites, titled Petites Pursue the Mystery of the Sexy Planet, much less is known about the game. Launched on September 7th, 2012, the story followed Petites as she defeats different sexy aliens. As for the gameplay, Petites Pursue the Mystery of the Sexy Planet functioned very similarly to Angry Birds, where you angle a projectile from the left side of the screen to hit enemies on the right side. Different from Angry Birds was that the projectile fired would ricochet once off of whatever it hit, allowing the player to angle shots to bounce off of items or hit two enemies at once. Some screenshots from the game exist across different Japanese game blogs from its initial release, but only one video of the game itself exists, thanks to the Japanese blog App Bank. Most of what we know about the game comes from press releases detailing information about the game before its release, as I've been unable to unearth much of anything post the release of the game. There's actually one more entry to the Puchitto line of games, and it comes in the form of another application, sort of a spin-off. Released on September 7th, 2012, alongside Pursue the Mystery of the Sexy Planet, Mayatan's Earth Destruction Diary was a mobile application for iOS that focused on the rumored end of the world in 2012, based on the Mayan calendar. Petites bounty hunters are the only ones capable of stopping the apocalypse, and thus the player must grow the characters so that they may save the world. After growing the characters, the player would tap to launch them into a planet above, knocking off aliens that threaten to invade. The gameplay was very simple, and thanks again to App Bank, we were able to see footage of how the game looked upon release. As for Pursue the Mystery of the Sexy Planet and Mayatan's Earth Destruction Diary, unless someone somewhere has the game still downloaded to an old Apple device, I don't believe either of these games will be recovered. Imagine Nation was a show that ran on NHK World from 2008 to 2020 and featured different aspects of current pop culture in Japan. Each episode ran for 30 minutes and were split into two segments, where the first half of the episode talked about one subject while the second half talked about another. On January 31st, 2012, an episode of Imagination aired where the first half talked about the upcoming BRS TV anime, specifically about the character's origin and the 3D animation that was to be featured in the show. Most episodes of Imagination had previously been uploaded online for torrenting by a blogger called Hello Funtime, but all have since become unavailable, including the episode featuring BRS. No clips or full videos of the episode are available to watch online, and the only screenshots I've found have been from Hello Funtime. Other episodes of Imagination have been uploaded online, but the number of which has been very few. At least 2 people have torrented this episode thanks to Hello Funtime, but it's clear that they haven't re-uploaded it, and it's unknown if they even still have the episodes on their devices. I would love to see this piece of lost media recovered and archived one day, as we see so little promotion of BRS in the US that I feel any and all such promotion should be available to fans for viewing. As part of the DVD release of the BRS OVA, a box set was released featuring bonus features on the Blu-ray disc. One such bonus feature was a 54-second-long stop-motion short created by animators who had worked on previous projects such as The Nightmare Before Christmas and Coraline. In the short, we see BRS dodge attacks from Deadmaster's skulls before flipping over the rock cannon, grabbing its handle, and aiming it at Deadmaster as her flaming left eye ignites and the credits roll. Throughout the entire short, a remix of BRS by Ryo can be heard, and said remix was done by Joe Hahn of Linkin Park. 2 segments of this remix have been used publicly. The first is from the stop-motion short itself, while the second section was used for the intro and outro background music of the making of bonus feature on the creation of the stop-motion short. It is unknown how much of the original song was remixed, but the remix on its own and in its entirety have been unreleased, and thus I'm including them on the list for that reason. I personally love how the remix sounds, and I would love if Joe Hahn just randomly one day decided, wow, I have this entire remix of BRS. Why not release it randomly? I think that'd be cool. Otherwise, I don't see the full song ever being uncovered. While on the topic of music, here's a short musical mention. In episode 5 of BRS 2012, a song performed only by a flute can be heard, starting at around 19 minutes and 23 seconds into the episode. The track lasts for under 2 minutes, playing behind you apologizing to Saya, Mato, and BRS. This song is missing from the BRS TV OST, and has never been released otherwise, which is a shame considering how somber it sounds and how well it fits in, following the motifs used across multiple songs in the soundtrack. Take a listen.
But I still couldn't do anything.
It's okay.
How is any of this okay? I'm supposed to be the one protecting her.
I promise you, it's okay.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. It is. You did your best. I'm sorry, Saya. And to you as well, Mato. Right now, I'm sure you must be in pain. And you must be suffering. I'm so sorry, Mato. I'm so sorry, BRS. I forced you both into this because I thought I knew what was right. Hurting, suffering, I get it. It all makes sense. All along, this pain, I've been forcing someone else to feel it for me the whole time. Our other selves never stop fighting. They spend their entire lives battling our darkest thoughts and fears. And then, when it's finally all over, after struggling to the bitter end, the only place they can find solace isn't death. The reason the girl with the blue eyes fights, even when it hurts her so much, is to save me from having to go through that pain. But
few pieces of BRS media are more iconic or important to the series than the song BRS by Ryo. Originally released on June 13th, 2008, Blackrockshooter became the third most viewed Vocaloid song on Nico Nico Doga for 2008 and remains within the top 30 most viewed on the platform to this day. The song itself has seen multiple versions post its initial release, including one from 2009 titled the 2M Mix, created with live instruments and a beta version of a Hatsune Miku append. But the version of Ryo's Blackrockshooter that belongs to this list is likely one that you have heard before. That's right, the version of Blackrockshooter used as the opening theme of the 2012 Blackrockshooter TV anime and in all releases of Project Diva featuring the song is lost media. But if the song can still be heard to this day, how does it qualify as lost media exactly? Simple. This version of the song in its entirety has never been released. The segment used for the opening of the 2012 TV anime features the first verse and the first chorus, whereas the Project Diva games feature the first verse and the second chorus onwards. Missing from both usages of the song is the second verse. This missing second verse is what makes this version of Blackrockshooter by Ryo lost media. On March 28, 2012, a CD Cinco release was scheduled to release for this version of Blackrockshooter through Sony Music Japan, but said single was cancelled. As we know a full version of the song was to be released before being cancelled, we can conclude that a full version of the song featuring the missing second verse does in fact exist but was never made publicly available. Some users on YouTube have uploaded videos claiming to contain the full song with the missing second verse, but have actually spliced together the TV opening, the Project Diva release, and the second verse from the previously released 2M Mix. In recent years, Blackrockshooter by Ryo has been featured many times for different projects, from its inclusion in the final episode of Blackrockshooter Dawnfall, to its usage in Project Sekai and Punishing Gray Raven, but each time the version of the song used is either the original release or the 2M Mix. In the case of finding this lost second verse, I do not think there's a high chance of its recovery. I think the most likely way the song could be heard would be through the Hatsune Miku concert series Magical Mirai. If the song was featured as part of a Magical Mirai setlist, it may be featured on that year's CD release. While Blackrockshooter has never before been performed in the style of a modern Hatsune Miku concert, I would say the nostalgia, style, and popularity of the song may make it applicable in future years. However, as I mentioned, there are other versions of Blackrockshooter that are more frequently used, and I would still imagine that the original version of the song would appear over the 2012 release. Still, it is the version featured in Project Diva, and past Magical Mirai have featured many songs time and time again straight from Project Diva because of that, albeit most of those songs already had dance animations from the game as well, whereas Blackrockshooter does not. I wanted to take some time here to highlight the cancelled works from Blackrockshooter as well, as I find they're just as interesting as the lost Blackrockshooter media, especially to me as a collector who longs for some of the cancelled merchandise here. On April 1st, 2018, Danny Chu announced on his Twitter that a collaboration between his line of dolls called Smart Doll and Hukei's company Tricked to create a BRS Smart Doll that would be happening in the future. Yet, years have passed and no sign of said Smart Doll and Tricked collaboration has happened. Because of the date this tweet was posted, many fans have come to assume this collaboration was an April Fool's joke and nothing more. However, on March 31st and April 1st, 2018, Danny Chu made multiple announcements regarding the Smart Doll line, later going on to make a tweet saying that only one of the announcements he's made was an April Fool's joke. Of the 4 Smart Doll announcements that appear in the mentioned tweet, one of which was the Tricked collaboration BRS doll. With this heightening the fear that the collab was in fact an April Fool's joke, I've seen multiple BRS fans and collectors shrug off the collab entirely. But there is proof that the collab was not the April Fool's joke out of the 4 announcements posted. On April 2nd, before making the only one of these was a joke tweet, Danny Chu posted a tweet saying the following: "Sorry for the delay in getting these items online. Super swamped. Got a meeting with Hukei tomorrow re BRS and should be free in the afternoon to work on the releases." This tweet was made after April Fools had ended in every time zone in the world, and the likelihood that Danny Chu would carry on the joke into a serious production release tweet is unlikely. Also, one of the announcements was a button that would make a Smart Doll appear on your doorstep in 5 minutes, which, was obviously the joke tweet of the 4. So, what happened? 2018 is the year that BRS 2020's return was in works behind the scenes, with BRS Inexhaustible being announced and BRS Dawnfall beginning early production. Tricked was also working on releasing a collaboration with the artist LM7. Of course, in early 2020, the world went into lockdown, which affected this Tricked LM7 release, and I can only imagine it affected the release of all BRS production as well, including the Smart Doll. With Tricked held up and the world inaccessible, it makes sense that the collaboration would be cancelled. Though secretly I hope it wasn't, and in the future we will see this release return now that we are seeing Tricked continue to make new figures. Please, if any, please just let this one happen and not be cancelled forever. Good Smile Company, the company that controls BRS and produces most of its merchandise, also has a couple pieces of cancelled merchandise. First is the EX Ride Black Trike from BRS the Game. Announced and revealed on July 24th, 2011 at Summer One Fest 2011, the EX Ride Black Trike was to be a figure of the Black Trike from BRS the Game, designed to fit Figma BRS 2035. The figure was featured in Figure O magazine and on display at events until Winter Wonder Festival 2012, where after it was never seen again and quietly cancelled. Really sad about this release, though I'm glad now we at least have the Plamax Black Trike from Dawnfall. Feels kinda like a consolation prize. The second cancelled merchandise from Good Smile Company is the set of Nendoroid Petites for BRS Arcana. Revealed and announced at Winter One Fest 2013 on February 10th, the 4 main BRS cast members of BRS, Strength, Deadmaster, and Black Goldsaw were slated to receive Nendoroid Petite figures. While Black Goldsaw and Deadmaster's figures were only announced with illustrations, Strength and BRS received painted prototypes of their figures, but just as Arcana itself was promptly cancelled, so were these 4 figures. In terms of cancelled media, BRS is no stranger to the concept. Sequels to both the OVA and BRS the Game were in the works before being cancelled. In the case of the sequel to the OVA, it was replaced by the release of the 2012 TV anime, and it seems it wasn't very far in development before this shift was made. As for the sequel, or rather prequel, to BRS the Game, the story from what we know was to follow the first clones of White Rock Shooter and the early battle against the alien invasion. Huke created concept designs for the new BRS in the game as well as a new Grey. While I cannot show these illustrations as they aren't available for public consumption, I highly recommend subscribing to Huke's Pix of Fanbox to see the concept art for yourself. It costs as little as 500 yen a month and is totally worth it, especially if you're a fan of BRS the Game. I'm unsure how well this topic fits into the cancelled category, or if it fits better with lost media perhaps, if it fits anywhere at all, but I'm diving into it anyways. This topic comes from the BRS Pilot Edition, specifically the booklet insert from the release. The content of the booklet includes behind-the-scenes info and concept sketches for the animation of BRS, but the included content in the booklet that has me mention it are the few pages of storyboard sketches. In the booklet, we see storyboards for the upcoming animation that the Pilot Edition was leading up to, but these scenes seem to come from before even the Pilot Edition's animation and release. Sketches such as Black Goldsaw in her original design, towering in frame and appearing to be dripping in blood, BRS on the ground and bleeding from her fresh iconic scars, and BRS facing off against a giant golem-like creature can be found in the pages of the insert, but such scenes are never seen animated in either the Pilot Edition or the OVA. It is my belief that these concepts were scrapped early on due to Huke wanting the OVA to be intended for a non-mature audience, and some of the concepts may have been too violent for that audience. It is unknown how many of these sketches and storyboards existed, and I don't think they would ever be released to the public, but I mention them as they are a lost and or cancelled concept of a past BRS project, so I felt they were worth mentioning. Real quick, I want to talk about some lost BRS fan projects as well, as they constantly resurface in my mind whenever I'm scrolling through YouTube trying to find nostalgic BRS content, but only finding covers or newer AMVs. The first fan project lost is from Abridgedrockshooter, an abridged series of both the BRS OVA and 2012 TV anime. The Abridgedrockshooter team covered the entirety of the OVA in 4 episodes and abridged the first 3 episodes of BRS 2012. While they're not the best abridged I've seen, and a lot of the jokes don't always land, they both hold a special and nostalgic place in my heart. The YouTube channel went inactive around 2018 or 2019, and all videos were turned to private. Thankfully, the entire OVA abridged from Abridgedrockshooter has been archived on the Internet Archive, but the same cannot be said for the 3 episodes from the 2012 series. All 3 episodes have no online presence as far as I'm aware and have not been re-uploaded. As I don't see many people talk about the series, I have to wonder if anyone has downloaded them in the past and still has the videos. The reason I do not believe any of the team will re-upload them, and that we would have to depend on a re-upload from someone who randomly downloaded them, is part of the reason I believe they were taken down in the first place. You see, Abridgedrockshooter was created in part by a controversial Vocaloid producer named Planty P, who dropped his presence from the internet in 2018. Almost everything connected to him went away with him, and I believe Abridgedrockshooter was taken down as part of his leaving as well. While I would love to see Abridgedrockshooter TV return, I would understand if this is why it's gone and it stays gone for that reason. Still, I can't help but feel sad that I might be the only one who has the Pottery Barn joke from episode 1 permanently etched into their memory. I know it by heart to this day. The second of the Lost BRS fan projects comes from the YouTube stop-motion animator Moonshine Animations. I used to be a huge fan of Moon and his videos, with his content being one of the 2 factors that got me into collecting BRS Figmas and BRS in general. If you're unaware of Moonshine Animations' past content, he previously focused on creating stop-motion shorts and reviews featuring Figma figures, and many of his videos featured the Figmas of BRS characters. Moon himself has privated most of his old anime-focused and figure review videos, but many have been archived and uploaded to the Internet Archive. Quick update. I've been working on this video for around 2 months, and in that time, the videos on the Internet Archive have been removed from the Internet Archive, and some of them have been re-uploaded, or rather, made not private anymore on Moon's channel. So, some are still missing, which is why I'm keeping this in here, but most of them are back on his channel, which is really good! Anyway, back to Past Blondie. However, some, including some of the ones featuring BRS figures, are missing. Such include the stop-motion review of Figma BRS Beast, a parody of the Draken Rap from Kim Possible featuring the OVA Figmas and White Rock Shooter, a parody of StarCraft featuring OVA Strength, and many, many others. Some elements of the videos are still available to view online, specifically on Moon's Facebook. Behind-the-scene photos and videos from some of the privated videos are still available to view and serve as reminders that the videos existed in the first place. BRS projects have always been notoriously difficult to obtain, be it through the lack of official streaming release of the OVA or the region locking of BRS Fragment, but BRS fans have always found a way. These days, it's not uncommon to see BRS fans display a never again mentality, with many utilizing different technology that was not available in the 2000s and 2010s to archive and back up anything and everything related to the series. As BRS has always had a community full of misinformation and lacking in full information, the lost media of BRS only exemplifies the need for BRS archivists and historians, and I'm glad that a small community of such have popped up from all around the world. If you, dear viewer, by some chance have access to any of the media talked about today, be it from personal screenshots to YouTube videos to just knowing a guy who might have connections, I hope this video has inspired you to join the cause in uncovering the lost media of BRS, no matter how small the contribution may seem. There are a lot of details that I've glossed over with some of these works, as this was meant to highlight each one without going too in-depth. If you'd like to learn more about a specific topic, please let me know in the comments. I know I would love to create a whole breakdown of everything we know about BRS Arcana. I'm kind of obsessed. You can also check out the description of this video, where I have linked most of, if not all of, the resources I have mentioned within this video. That way you can enjoy them for yourself in your own time. So until next time, thank you very much for watching, and please continue supporting BRS.